Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, viewers. So today's topic is a standard deviation. As it implies a deviation from the normal and standard uh, number of sequence of figures, and the higher it is, the more it is away from its mean, right, or average. So the standard deviation is actually, what is it? It's a number that tells you how the numbers are uh, away from their means, from their average, the mean. Okay. So, for example, if you have 10 numbers, all are the 10. So their average is 10 because all are 10, right? And the standard deviation is 0 because there is no deviation. All are 10, right? Similarly, uh, if we have diversified numbers, different numbers, so, and so the standard deviation will be mm, more than 0. And the higher it is, the more uh, mm, the numbers are away from its mean, right? It's exceeding the mean. So, so the standard deviation is 0 when there is no deviation, all right? And standard STDEV is the function which is introduced by Excel, and it instantly, otherwise, if you try to do it manually, there are plenty of steps to take. For example, you have scores. Yeah, you have scores. These are the 8 number of scores of 8 people, right? And then you have to make a square of them, right? So this is how we do the square, right? And the sum of those squares becomes this, right? The sum of these scores is equal to this, right? So all you need these things in order to get the variance. And through this variance, when it is put in the square root, uh, you are going to get what? You are going to get the standard deviation. So the 6.144 is telling you how numerous is this and away from the mean, right? So these are the steps which have to be taken if you do it manually, right? So, whereas thanks to Excel, that Excel provides you a simple function that 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 brings you the same figure by means of STDEV. Yeah. Dot P is for the population, the entire population, whereas dot S is means that a sample of it. So the difference of the both function is the -1 here, means if you have 8 number of score, so it will be divided by 7 here. Whereas in the population manner formula, you will divide this whole thing by 8, exactly the number of the scores you have. So by this we know that what are the standard deviation variety. One is dot S as standard deviation dot S, and give the range. It will do for you all these work and bring it. You don't have to do all these things, right? Or so all this square root and squares and means and counting of the sequence, and all are performed by this work function. As similarly, for the population, uh, it is going to divide them. If you have 8, so divided by 8, right? Right. So, so if we see what are these formulas are coming are being done, if we do not use this, so we do not use this formula, then we have to first of all get the x square value. X square is actually the square of all the values, and then the sum of the squares are exactly, you can see this is the sum of the squares, right? So you have this figure, you will be required to arrive at this figure of standard deviation. Similarly, the mean is the sum of squares, that is this, means sum of a square is this, and then divided by these 8 numbers, or you can write instead of 8, you can write count, count all these, means count all the scores. So that will also result in 8. So 15 will be the row. Okay. So, and then we name it so that you don't have to worry about that. These are the mean. These are the mean. So we have made it mean. And this is we have named it as sum of scores. By naming this way, you are actually making convenience for yourself, comfort, so that when you use it, you don't have to worry about the cell reference. Just write sum of squares. Yeah, the sum of squares and divided by this. So this is the figure which is required here in calculating the variance, right? Sum of the squares minus sum of the scores divided by this, so that gets the mean, that get the other curves, means sum, that is you can say xi or whatever. Okay, the scores, and this is squares, and these two are summed up first of all, right? When they are summed up, and then their difference is this, right? H5 and H6 and H7. The difference is here, and then this difference is put in the square root as formula, right? The root of this, right? So this is going to get you this. So it is going to take a lot of time and efforts if you don't use the Excel provided functions as standard deviation.P, right? So this is actually the standard deviation. The purpose is to see how much variety is there, and how much is are the figures away from the mean. So we have the total 6.144. If we do, if we apply this formula in here, so we do the same thing, right? H4, yeah, this is 302. Yeah, then sum of squares 2, this becomes 302. So what is the square 2? Square 2 is actually the square of the score, means the difference from the mean, right? That is 6, right? Okay, so if the mean is 15, right? 15 minus 21 minus 15 gives you 6. Okay, 17 minus 15 gives you 2. and so on, right? So these are the scores. So the total of them is the total of squares 2 is this, right? The square 2, this was the square 1, for example. The second time of squaring is actually we are squaring this. The where we get the difference between the mean and the respective cell. Okay, you get the difference in here, and then you make a square of it. Okay, so this is squared, right? When they are squared, they are summed up, and this sum is being used in this H4, right? So this sum is being used. First of all, H4. So what is H4? Is this one, right? So this sum is being used in here in the square root, yeah, and divide by n, not n minus 1. So that is 8, right? We can use it count function, yeah, count of, for example, these, right? That's it. So that is, this is the square root, and this comes with the same figure which you have with one simple function. If you use it, so it will do it for all these functions for you. Okay, so this presentation was just to show you that how well equipped are you with the statistical functions when you have the knowledge of Excel and its functions. So it will make your life very easy instead of doing all these working. So it saves you working. And the difference between .p and .s is that it is dividing the entire number by the entire, n is 8, whereas it will be taking a sample of it, right? So this is more accurate. .s is more accurate for decision makers because it is going to give you an orthodox, conservative picture that's better instead of taking the entire population. So taking a sample and then offering it. So this is statistical uh, aspect of Excel. You can utilize it in your day-to-day functions, especially when you have to determine the standards, standard sale, standard budget, standard costing, right, in your practical field. So you have the historical data, and then you want to know that yeah, how much is the deviation, and then you might have to revise the standards on the grassroots level, and so that uh, future practices can help you in the realistic costing and reporting. Okay, thank you very much.